You're listening to episode 48 on the Air Hug Community Podcast. Well, hello, welcome, and thank you for tuning in today to the Air Hug Community Podcast. If you don't know me, if it's your first time or you're new around here, my name is Judy Arizosa, and I'm your host here on the Air Hug Community, and you can just think of me basically as the mom and now grandmom next door. And what is the Air Hug Community all about? This is just a safe place to come, and it's a place where we tell stories between guests and myself that help us to improve our lives by improving the lives of others. We cover all sorts of topics, and today we are going to talk about readiness. And this came about because I get so many people talking to me and asking me about their fitness journey and why it's so hard. And the thing is, at this point in time, you'd have to be living under a rock to actually not know about healthy living and healthy habits. Most people have a very good, if not excellent, idea of what healthy living probably should look like. And I'm going to say most people. But here's the thing. You could know everything about the best exercise program, and you could have the absolute perfect nutrition plan for your body and your stage of life, and you could still fail. And a big problem with this is that a lot of people want to start but may not actually be ready. All right, so let's pop in here and do a quick definition. What do we mean by readiness? Okay, so according to the dictionary, readiness is the state of being fully prepared for something. Okay, so, and it also means your willingness to do something. And so what we mean is what's going on between your ears. And I just want to tell you, I don't really have any notes today, but this is a topic of conversation that comes up so often. And I think it's really behind a lot of failed attempts. So I don't want anyone to feel bad when you do have failed attempts. And remember, failures are all lessons. And I know that's a very common statement, but it bears repeating. Failures are lessons. And sometimes when we fail to make progress, maybe we've started a fitness program before we were ready. And so what does readiness look like? Readiness looks like having the mindset to be willing, ready, willing, and able to actually go through with all of the new behaviors that are going to be required to become habits. And so at the beginning, all these behaviors are new and they are icky. You know, maybe the first week they're great because it's a honeymoon type of thing, right? The first week you're just going on adrenaline, and maybe it doesn't even last a week. Maybe by the third day you're already hungry, tired, and sore, right? Whatever that period is. But then, you know, after the newness, however long that new period wears off, you really have to dig deep and do the work. And so you had better be ready before you decide to do the work, right? Because if you don't, it's just not going to get done. So how do you know if you're ready? Well, there's some questions you can ask yourself, but it actually starts with believing that this is possible and believing that it's necessary. Those things are really prerequisites for getting going on your journey. And also, it's a knowledge that this is really a three-pronged approach. I like to call it a three-pronged approach because there's definitely, and obviously to everyone, there's the physical commitment, and that's the exercise and the nutrition, right? It's what you do to your body and what you put in your mouth. But there's also a mental commitment and a spiritual commitment. And this is where I think a lot of people kind of drop the ball. And it is a lot of balls to keep in the air, no doubt. But if you are ready mentally, mindset-wise, you are going to be on board. And once you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is possible and it's necessary, Those are the prerequisites. Those are what you have to know in your heart. And sometimes we know it and sometimes we don't. And I will say there are times when people actually have known it and have done well for long periods of time, and then they lose it. But here's the thing. It's not, I don't want anyone to feel bad if they're not ready. You just wait until you are ready, and I know just wait is not something, especially when maybe some people go to the doctor and they're like, look, if you don't make these changes, X, Y, Z is going to happen. And that's not a threat. It's probably just, a very good medical forecast, right? So sometimes that's enough to shock people into the thought like, okay, this is necessary. I have to do it. And they also have to somehow convince themselves that it's possible. So it's really important to consider these things before people jump into programs. And I've had people jump into my nutrition programs more than a couple of times. They've jumped in and they're like, yeah, I want to do this. It's great. And the first thing I tell them is, this is not a quick program where you're not going to do, this is not fast fat loss, because we don't do it that way. Fast fat loss is actually a fallacy. Say that fast 3 times. Fast fat loss is a fallacy because fast always comes back. It's temporary. So we actually have to take our time and realize that we're in it for the long haul. And it's a commitment. It's a lifelong commitment, but you don't have to see the whole picture. You just have to see one day at a time. And so that's another part of the mental focus is try to just do this one day, one habit, sometimes one meal at a time, so that you can get to it. One day at a time, you're going to have some movement. One day at a time, you're going to eat according to your plan. That's what I'm talking about. And sometimes you need more help than what you think you have. And of course, it's great to have a coach or a mentor or someone to work with, but also there's a spiritual guidance. And for everybody, that's going to look a little bit different. Some people will call it the universe protecting them. Some people will call it their spiritual leader. I call it God, and I just pray for acceptance and understanding. Praying for fast fat loss is not what we're talking about here. Although, when we're a kid, we kind of pray for things like that, right? So when you were a kid, did you pray for funny things like that? Like I used to pray that I could wear a maxi dress to school and that I had a closet full of maxi dresses when I was about 9 years old. But okay, I digress. It was like the late 60s, 1970, and all I wanted was a maxi dress. Oh, sorry. Let's get back to the show. I think that's so funny. But it's more like praying for understanding and acceptance and for the mindset to get you through into the new behavior, so that pray for the new behaviors to actually come to you, and pray for yourself to be committed to do the work to get there. That's what I'm talking about with spiritual guidance. And then there's the physical, which is what you see mostly about in ads for all sorts of programs. But I really wanted to hop on quickly today and say, how ready are you? It's the readiness that's really going to be the pivot point here. And, here's what I would tell you is if you are ready to invest in yourself, then you will do it. If you jump to it before you're actually ready, then you're probably, no matter what the program is, you're probably going to waste your money. So take some time with yourself and think about it and really decide, is this something you want to do? When your friends are going out for pizza, beer, and wings on Friday night, are you ready to maybe go with them but not partake in those behaviors? Are you ready to do that long term? Or what are your feelings on that? How are you going to be able to manage that? And maybe at the beginning you don't go out right away and you work on your behaviors and your mindset, but maybe that you're going to get there. So that's the way I like to think about it. But readiness is something that is so undervalued and underappreciated in starting any new journey. This could be the case, readiness for anything, readiness to become a parent, readiness to begin dating again after a breakup, all sorts of things. Readiness to maybe renew a friendship that you severed, in a previous times. I don't know. Do you get it? I hope you're getting this, folks, because this is really juicy and important stuff. And once you get over this hump of ready or not, because it isn't ready or not. You are ready or you're not ready, but you don't want to go forward if you're not ready. And you really have to take some thought into it. It can't be an impulsive thing like, okay, your friend joined whatever weight program. I'm going to say Weight Watchers. I'll laugh about that. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. A friend joined Weight Watchers and you did too because you wanted to be, on with her. But if you weren't ready to do that, then you've just wasted your money, right? But if you are ready to do it, then you're going to see whatever it is. Hopefully well, I don't love Weight Watchers, but that's another story. Whatever your method is, your method is. But the point is, when you know in your heart that you can commit, that you know it's necessary to commit to a lifestyle change for your health, and we're talking about a health journey. I'm not talking about fast weight loss. I'm not talking about building strength overnight. We're talking about getting healthy for the long-term investment. When you're ready to do that and you understand what kind of commitment it's going to take, and it's not so much a big time commitment, I don't think. Like my workouts are never more than 45 minutes, and a lot of times they're 30 minutes or less. But it's just the fact of doing it. It's like jumping in that cold pool and then you're okay. And it's just getting to the fact that you're going to do these things consistently, and you're going to do whatever it is in your program that helps you to eat so that your body is healthy, so you don't feel the aches and pains, so that you can be in a size body that it functions in a healthy manner. And I'm not talking about an overly lean body or an overly muscular body. I'm talking about a body that is healthy. It can do what it is, whatever you define as you are healthy. So don't start till you're ready, folks. Okay? That's what I'm talking about today. Don't start until you're ready and figure out how to get ready. But remember the three-pronged approach. Right? There's the mental aspect of it. You get your mind right and your body will follow. There's the spiritual aspect. Don't forget to rely on your spiritual leader. And then there's the physical aspect, and you either are going to do that on your own or you're going to get a coach. So listen, I want you to go out there and enjoy life and live as healthy as you can. Thank you so much for listening today. And if you know someone who is pondering this and has failed numerous times, maybe have them take a listen to this and tell them it's okay if you failed. Maybe you weren't ready, and someday you will be ready. And just know this, that it's never too late and you are never too old. So thank you so much for listening. Check back every Tuesday for a new episode here on the Air Hug Community Podcast.